This family of 6 Syrian refugees will reach the U.S. this week. They're among the group that fulfills President Obama's commitment to take in 10,000 people under his controversial Syrian refugee resettlement program. They're unlikely to be the last.
We will meet the 10,000 figure today. We anticipate bringing in additional Syrians. I think yes.
Nadim Fawaz and his family are headed for San Diego. He says he's feeling great joy for our children's lives and future, but also fear of the unknown. Critics of Obama's Syria resettlement program are expressing fear about what's unknown about individuals like these, who come from a country that ISIS uses as its home base. Donald Trump rode his way to the GOP nomination in part by saying he'd ban Muslims from entering the country.
Until we find out what the hell is going on.
Though he's since softened that by targeting only those from countries that harbor or train terrorists. And Republican members of the House Committee on Homeland Security saying in a June letter to President Obama that they believe the surge of admissions of Syrian refugees poses a high security risk to our country. They cite officials who've told them extremists could slip through the cracks. That's because it's hard to do proper background checks on people coming from war zones. The Obama administration pushes back on that notion.
Meeting the goal of resettling 10,000 Syrian refugees did not come at the cost of our comprehensive and robust security measures.
How did the U.S. decide whom to accept into the Syrian resettlement program? It works like this. There are about 5 million refugees that have registered or are awaiting registration with the UN. The UN prioritizes the most vulnerable refugees, like families with young children and others at risk of being targets of violence. Its vetting and administrative process takes about 2 years. Some of these asylum seekers are then referred by the UN to the U.S. and the 35 other countries accepting Syrian refugees. At that point, the country of resettlement takes over the process and carries out its own processing and vetting procedures. The refugees aren't given a choice over the country to which they're accepted. U.S. officials aren't specifying how they select the individuals they do from the long list of those hoping to be resettled. The U.S. State Department makes that call. Its refugee admissions policies give priority to families, and a State Department source says the U.S. is increasingly focused on helping gay and lesbian refugees whose lives may be at risk. Before being accepted into the U.S., Homeland Security officers in Amman, Jordan, interview the refugee candidates and put them through an extensive identity verification and security review process. The ones who make the final list are flown to the U.S., paired up with volunteer organizations to assist them, and distributed throughout the country. The 3 states that have taken in the most are Michigan, California, and Arizona. The 10,000 Syrians join the other 75,000 refugees the U.S. has accepted this year from all over the world. All are entering the U.S. in the heat of a presidential campaign in which terrorism and immigration issues represent some of the widest divisions separating Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's visions for America.